It was then that I opened my eyes and realized that wasn't my house. There was an old piano in the corner, more a decoration and a photo stand than an instrument, but there were also strange things that didn't fit. There were a couple of family photos on the walls and the piano, but all of them had their heads scratched out. The clocks in the room weren't working. All of them were set to 2:34 a.m. The windows had cold steel bars that belonged in a prison. The rest of the house was filled with dense white fog that seemed to swirl and move like a living being without any wind. I was confused. This was supposed to be my client's nightmare, not mine. I extended my consciousness into the surroundings and immediately could tell my senses were diminished. Shit! I was somehow on the creature's home turf. A tingling, uncomfortable feeling down my spine warned me that something was watching me. Whatever it was, it shouldn't have been able to pull my soul out of my body, and certainly not without me noticing. Then, there was one option left. An illusion. I was actually standing in my room, and the spell was tricking my mind into believing I was in the creature's trap. Suddenly, a sharp movement announced the attack. Two shadowy spikes went for my knees, aiming to maim me. I saw bone crack and flesh tear as I looked down at my mangled knees, but I did not fall. Impressive spell work. Bad execution! If you can't convince me that I'm hurt, I won't be hurt, my shadowy friend. Well, it didn't matter. If the subject panicked, the subject could be hurt. But if the caster panicked, I know you can speak. So, since this is our first meeting, let me give you a free lesson. It's very dangerous to keep a target in an illusion after they realize what it is. Let me show you why. I extended my consciousness, trying to sense the connection that made the spell work. Once identified, I began pressing my own mental energy into everything around me. The floor and furniture around me started to rot and twist into weird, otherworldly shapes. I could feel the creature panic. It tried to drop the whole spell, but it was too late. I let the ink on my hands float to the skin's surface. Those tattoos were used for curse weaving, and I had a perfect curse in mind. Oh, don't leave yet. We haven't gotten to know each other. My fingers danced in a couple of runic shapes as I chanted decay and put my hand into the fog. The mist, once white, began to turn greenish-black, and the thing howled in pain. I was right, but then, with a sharp snap, everything around me cracked. I was back in my room, sitting on my bed. Running by cutting off your own tail, huh? Smart. I managed to lightly injure its mind, but it was quick, and I didn't put any permanent curse on it. Also, how was the spell cast? The fight might not be as straightforward as I believed. I went to check the house, but as I walked out of my room, it hit me. A smell of burning hair and clocks frozen at 2:34 a.m. The next morning was the day to deal with the ghost. Before me lay a black wizard's robe. Unlike the normal decorated ones with wide sleeves, this one was a simple battle robe. After putting it on, I locked my black leather belt around my waist and started adding weapons to its many holders. I enjoyed this part in particular. It was relaxing in a strange way. And finally, the most important part of the getup. A black and gold staff. I arrived at the place of the exorcism. It was a typical suburban American house. The only thing suggesting it was empty was the newspapers lying on the porch. I looked through the window and immediately recognized the place. It was the same as the one in the illusion. After entering, I looked around to get to know my surroundings. I had about 30 minutes of daylight, and I could already feel a presence in the house. But as I thought, the ghost was hiding, waiting for the sun to recede. After around 10 minutes, with my work done, I stood outside looking at the setting sun. I raised my left hand towards my heart and felt my pulse. It was a steady but loud beating, slightly faster than usual. Those were the moments I lived for. Finally, the shadows covered the final tile of the house's roof. It was go time.